As rent across New York City continue to climb, there's help on the horizon thanks to the mayor's new housing plan.
We're going to make it easier to get our vulnerable New Yorkers off the street and into housing. We're going to accelerate the creation of supportive housing. The city promised to complete 15,000 supportive homes by 2030. We're going to get that done in 2 years ahead of schedule.
All right, so the blueprint for housing and homelessness will overhaul housing throughout the five major initiatives. Our next guest played a vital role in developing that very plan. He joins us this morning to discuss where we go from here. Shams DaBaron, aka the homeless hero. Good to see you again, Shams. Welcome back.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Important topic here, right? Because the last time you joined us, the city was actually clearing out the homeless encampment. And since then, you've really had a front row seat to the development of this housing blueprint. So what was the process like? Walk us through it.
Well, basically, this, in terms of the homeless encampments, we see that there's a massive homeless problem that's been in existence for quite some time. So obviously, what I support is addressing not just homeless encampments, not just homeless New Yorkers that are in subways, but homeless New Yorkers that are languishing in shelters as well, and people that are housing insecure. So the idea of having a seat at the table is monumental and historical because it's never really been the case for us to be at the table helping to draft a plan. So as you know, I've been part of the mayor's housing committee and transition team, and that follow-up was to help draft this housing plan under the guidance of Jessica Katz. So it's definitely a historic moment, but it's also a substantial moment.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the plan. It expands the pool of people who will qualify for the housing program. So who exactly is this going to help?
Well, basically, there's always been a lot of people we've always dealt with an issue of homelessness and housing insecurity, and it's only gotten worse under previous administrations. So the thing with this administration is basically to address all of those different sectors, which a lot of people, when they think of homelessness, they just think of people that are on the streets, but they don't realize we have over 14,000 young people that are homeless. We have many city workers that are homeless. We have so many people that are housing insecure, and then we're not even going to get into NYCHA.
Yeah.
So this housing plan basically addresses all of those different sectors, including, runaway youth, victims of domestic violence, and, with the overhaul of the voucher programs in conjunction with the housing plan, I think that we'll be able to begin to see a reduction in homelessness in the city.
So help us understand part of the plan, right? Because you're actually calling for a closure of an all-congregant shelter. So would that leave more men and women on the streets and actually worsen the homeless crisis? Where would they go?
No, actually, the reverse. A lot of people that are on the streets are on there because they don't want to be in congregate shelters. And so we just saw figures that said something like there's an estimate of 5,000 people who may be on the streets and subways and stuff. So my main thing was that these congregate shelters are places that are not conducive to a person's mental, physical, and spiritual health and wellness. We need to close them. So the mayor, which I commend him for, has decided to move away from that, to phase that out with the building of more safe havens, stabilization beds, and these low barrier places where we have seen that people are more likely to go into. There are less restrictions. A lot of them don't have curfews. If anything, it's very, you might be with one person in a room or a single room. And so, the idea that we can close congregate shelters, which has not seemed to be good on communities or the residents there, to move into another direction is important. And I think we need to highlight the fact that, let me just say, the mayor pivoted from that continued use of congregate shelters to a focused on safe havens and stabilization beds and allocated annually $171 million to help build more of those beds, as well as put services into to enhance outreach services.
Yeah, let's talk about the price tag. So the plan calls for $22 billion to be poured into the city's affordable housing programs over the next 10 years. So given that the average cost of rent right now in New York is between $3,000 and $4,000, I mean, what will this new affordable housing actually look like, and will there be priority given to people who need it the most?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The reality is that what has been known to be called affordable housing has not been affordable
Exactly.
to the average person, and it's not going to get affordable with these current rents unless we do things like we enhance voucher programs so that we can create a subsidy that helps to support people that are working but currently have to choose between saving up for their child's college education or even food sometimes. That's one tool. But these programs is also, with the money that's coming in, is being used to create what we call deeply affordable housing, which targets different segments of the population. But we're seeing a model in certain places throughout the city that is something that I support, which is mixed income dwellings, where you might have people that are able to afford a certain amount living in this dwelling, but you also have people of low income or people coming out of homelessness that can also live in communities and thrive in communities and come up with supportive services or even, a voucher and stuff like that. So the only thing I would say is that we do have to work together to get the federal government and the state to actually put more money into the building of affordable housing. I don't think that it's enough right now. We advocates estimate that about $5 billion a year is necessary in order to really be able to produce the type of housing stock that we need in order to get people housed and make sure that people who are housing insecure are no longer housing insecure.
Well, it is certainly an important issue that you are all over. Shams DaBaron, to Homeless Hero, good to have you here to kind of lay out some of the specifics around the plan, and I'm sure this is going to be an ongoing conversation, so you're welcome back anytime.
One thing, if you don't mind, real quickly.
Real quick.
I've organized landlords throughout the city, landlords who care. And so I'm not just relying on the government or a city to do the work. I'm actually trying to be out here engaged doing the work myself. So the next time I come, I want to bring to you this initiatives with the city support called Landlords Who Care, who will put thousands of apartments online to support voucher holders throughout the city.
That's important. That's important. So we'll do that next time. That's important, really. All right, good to have you.
Thanks, Shams.
Okay.
All right, the time right now is 8:09.